Welcome everybody to our online program on addiction and recovery from the Sunshine Coast Health Center here in Powell River, BC. And our topic is going to be practical exercises that you can do to help you live a more meaningful life. And we've talked lots about this fellow by the name of Viktor Frankl, this psychiatrist from Vienna, who said that people who were drawn to drug use were drawn there because they felt that their lives were pretty much meaningless, monotonous, and boring. They didn't really find them fulfilling. And one of the reasons for this is because they really didn't have a good sense of who they were. They really can't tell you what's actually important to them. They'll say things like, oh, wealth or being respected or some kind of thing like that, but not what's actually important to them as a human being. And they really can't tell you, what they're good at or what their limitations are, what they actually desire or want. It is actually one of the marks of people with addictions that they seem to be completely disconnected from themselves, from their emotions, even from their physical bodies. And so this is a real problem because one of the keys to recovery is to live a life that is your life. This is the life that you feel you should be living, right? Or the saying goes, to thine own self be true, right? That's really what you want to do. But if you don't know yourself, well, it makes it pretty much impossible to live that life, right? Because what's being true to yourself mean? You have no idea. So this idea then of getting some self-awareness is pretty fundamental. So in this online program, we'll come up with a handful of exercises you can try out at home just to give yourself a little better self-awareness. And the first one is learning to grow from adversity. Okay. So Viktor Frankl believed that you could always grow from any situation in life, including a terrible situation. And of course, being Frankl, he wrote about his experience in Auschwitz concentration camp. So we don't need to be that drastic. But still, even from tough situations that you can grow from. In fact, a lot of psychologists say it is through challenges that we grow as human beings. It's sort of that old idea that if you're growing and reaching towards heaven, you got to have your roots firmly planted in hell. That kind of idea. Anyway, those who feel that their lives are empty, that they don't get much pizzazz in life, very often don't pay attention to how they can grow from adversity. And very often, in fact, it just seems to reinforce their old beliefs. Like, oh God, I hate arguing with that jerk. I always knew he was a jerk. It just is just one more piece of evidence to support me in this, right? So they don't really think about what they can learn from adversity. So here's the exercise. So think of a difficult situation you've been in. And it could be a pretty drastic one. It could be like being diagnosed with cancer, or it could be kind of a minor one. Maybe you're having some frustrations with a colleague at work. It doesn't really matter what the situation, just a situation that posed a challenge to you, right? And then think about what you could actually learn from that situation. Did you discover anything about yourself from this? Did you find you had some courage or some patience that maybe you weren't sure you had before? Did you discover any ways that maybe you could, in the next time you face a situation, make it easier? When you think back to it, is there any way you could have handled the situation that would have been more productive in the long run? Right? All of these kinds of questions to think through. And this is the way contented people live their lives. They actually are quite thoughtful. And they look at situations and say, well, how can I grow as a person? How can I learn from this situation? Anyway, that's this episode. We'll be back next time with another topic.